Hello friend, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to my channel, SA Graphics and Multimedia. My name is Rafi Yakub right here, and in today's video you are going to learn how to create creative A4 business flyer step-by-step tutorial in Photoshop. But before we dive deep into tutorial, if you are very new to this channel, remember to click on the subscribe, turn on notification bell, so each time I post content about Photoshop tutorial, you'll be notified and you'll learn. With that being said, so let's dive into tutorial and see how you create a simple creative business A4 flyer in Photoshop print ready template. So let's begin. So the first thing you want to do is to come to the home tab right here. Make sure you click on file and make sure you click on new. So at this point here, make sure you type in the title of your design, A4 business flyer. Then make sure your width is 5.103. Then you come to the height, make sure you type in 7.213. Then come to resolution right here, make sure it's 300. Your color mode right here should always be CMYK color. Finally, you come down below here and click on create. Alright, so the next thing we want to do right here is to go to our toolbar right here. We have to click and hold down. And this time around, we need to make sure we select our rectangle tool. Having select rectangle tool, then we come to the property right here. We make sure shape is checked. We can change the color to another color of our choice from here, and we come to the artwork right here and draw our rectangle. So you have to press shift key on your keyboard. This allows you to draw a perfect rectangle. Okay, then we can go to our move tool right now. So this rectangle right here, so we are going to duplicate this rectangle into as many as possible 4 places. Okay, so for us to do that, we just have to go back to our move tool. Then you can easily press hotkey on your keyboard and you drag this way, then it duplicates. So just maintain 0.60 interval. So we have one, then we make sure we make another duplicate and maintain the same 0.060 interval. So we have 2, and the last one we make sure we make another duplicate and maintain the same 0.060. So we have the third rectangle like that. Okay, so one more thing we can do right here is to come to our layer panel right here. We have to press shift key and select the first rectangle layer, so the whole layer become active. Then the next thing we need to do is to come to the home tab right here. We go to edit, then from edit we look for free transform. Now what we want to do right here is to press shift key on our keyboard and we make sure we adjust this particular shape from each side. So once we satisfy with the adjustment, we have to come to the top right here. We click on this check mark to accept the transform. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is to locate each of these shapes one after the other. So we have to make sure we select on this particular one right here. So once we select this one, what we want to do right now is to make another multiple duplicate of this. So for us to do that, we just have to press alternative key on our keyboard, then we drag in and we make sure we maintain the same 0.60 interval. So what we want to do next is to locate this particular shape right here, which is copy 4 rectangle and copy 5 rectangle. So we have to come to the layer panel right here. I will make sure I make the 2 layer active. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to make sure I press Ctrl J on my keyboard to make a duplicate. Then the duplicate one here, I'm going to group them right here. So having grouped them, the next thing I'm going to do is to go to the home tab right here. Then I'll go to select. I'll make sure I click on all. Then I'll have to align to the left edge right here. Then I'll go back to select. I'll make sure I deselect. So we have this one right here. So the next thing we're going to do is that I need to locate this particular shape right here, which is shape 7, copy 7. Then I'll press hotkey on my keyboard and I will make another duplicate and maintain the same 60 in gap interval. Then I'll make another duplicate again. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to make sure I locate this particular layer right here. Then I'm going to make another duplicate. I'll press hotkey on my keyboard and make another duplicate. And I'll make sure I snap it at the top right here. Then I'll go to edit and I'll make sure I look for my free transform. And I'll make this one a little bit smaller in shape. So once I'm satisfied, I'll come to the top right here and I'll click on this check mark to accept it. Okay. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to make a duplicate of this particular shape right here. I'll press hotkey on my keyboard and I will drag. Then I'll take the duplicate down right here. Then I have to locate this particular shape right here. Then I will make a duplicate. Hotkey on my keyboard. Then I will drag. Then I'll make sure I go to edit and I will look for free transform. So I have to shrink this down a little bit. So once I'm satisfied with the adjustment, I'll come to the top right here and click on this check mark to accept the transform. Next thing I want to do is to go to the top right here. I'll click on select all. Then I'll make sure I align to the right edge and bottom edge. Then I'll go to select. I'll make sure I click on deselect. So we have it this way. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is to locate this particular layer right here. I have to locate this particular shape. This is copy 4 and copy 5. So I have to make sure I locate this particular copy 4. So what I'm going to do next is to go to home tab right here. I'll click on edit and I'll make sure I look for my free transform. So I'll make sure I adjust this and make sure it overlay this particular one right here. Then once I'm satisfied, I'll come to the top right here. I will click on this check mark to accept the transform. So we have this one like that. Next thing I'm going to do is to locate this particular shape right here, which is rectangle copy 3. I will right click on it. I'll make sure I duplicate layer. So this can be alternative rectangle 1. Then I'll make sure I copy this and I'll click on OK. So next thing I'm going to do is to make sure I hide this layer. Okay. So I'll have to locate this particular one right here, this particular layer. So, and we have it this way. Then I will right click on the layer and I will go to duplicate layer. So this can be alternative 2 and then I will click on OK. So I will have to drag it out and this time around I'll make sure I hide this layer too. So, and I have to locate this particular layer and I will right click on the layer. I will make sure I look for duplicate layer. So this can be alternative 3. Okay, I will click on OK. Then I will hide the layer. So I will have to locate this layer here, which is rectangle 1. I will right click on it. I will make sure I duplicate layer. Then this is going to be alternative 4 and I will click on OK. Then I will also hide the layer right here, okay, because I don't need it for now. So, and this one right here, I will have to locate the layer and I will make sure I disable the layer. So all this disable layer is what we are going to use in the later. So we have to locate this layer also. I'll make sure I disable it and I will have to locate this layer. I will make sure I disable it. I will have to locate this layer and I will make sure I disable it. So I'll make sure I locate this layer. I will make sure I disable it. And this same layer also, I will make sure I disable it for now. So all these enable layer are the ones I'm going to weld all together right now. Okay, so what we are going to do right now is to come to the layer panel right here. We have to select on this layer. Then we have to press Ctrl key on our keyboard and make sure we make all the visible layer active. So we have to select on this, I have to select on this, and we have to look for the rest. Select on this. So you must press Control key down on your keyboard and then select them one after the other until you are able to select all the visible layer, and select on this. So once you select everything, right click on it and make sure you click on merge shape. So having merged the shape, then it become one. So by the time I disable the layer, you see it has been disappeared. So I'm going to enable it back. So what we are going to do right now is that we have to go to the home tab right here. We go to file and we click on place embedded. Once we are able to power clip the picture inside the shape, then we begin to make all these layer enable. We bring them back one after the other. All right, so the next thing we're going to do right here is to change, apply appropriate color to our layer. So we can start from this layer right here. Then we come to the layer thumbnail right here. We double click on the layer thumbnail. So you can see the color I use right here. I will highlight, right click, and I'll make sure I copy. Then I will click on OK. All right, and I'll come to the layer blend mode right here. So I will select on here. I'll make sure I choose multiply. Okay, then I have to locate this layer right here, and I will come to the layer thumbnail. I will double click on the layer thumbnail. Then I will just come here and I will press Ctrl A to highlight, Ctrl V to paste the color code. Then having pasted the color code, then I will just click on OK. And then I have to locate this layer. I will double click on the layer thumbnail. Then I will come here to the color code. I'll press Ctrl A to highlight, Ctrl V. So you can see we are maintaining the same color code right here. So I will come here and I'm going to click on OK. Then I have to locate this shape, and I will come to the layer thumbnail. Then Ctrl V to paste. So you can see the color code still remain the same, and I'll click on OK. Then I have to locate this particular layer. So I will double click on the layer thumbnail, and then I'll paste the color code here, and I'll click on OK. So I have to locate this particular layer right here, and I will have to disable this layer. Then what I'm going to do next is that I'll go to file. From the home tab right here, I have to go to place embedded. And I'll come back here. I'll make sure this layer is active again. Then I will make sure this is disabled. Then I'll make sure I drag this layer overlay right here. So we have it this way. So I'll have to double click on this layer thumbnail now. Then I'll paste the color code right here, and I'll click on OK. So this time around, I have to come to the blend mode right here and apply multiply. So the next thing I'm going to do is to locate this particular layer right here, and I will press Hotkey on my keyboard just to make a duplicate of this layer. Then I'll make sure I snap the duplicate right here. Then I'll change the blend mode here to color bond. So I have to select on this shape, the same shape again. I'll press Hotkey and make another duplicate. So I have to take this one down below right here and make sure it's snapped to the shape at the bottom right here. So at this point here, the next thing to do is to add text into my business flyer. Okay.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have got no shame, there's no time. Feel the pain, live the grind. I could change, in my mind. Pick a lane, commit and climb. The only way to win at life. I never miss, that's fact. Taking big swings, hand me the bat. Put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag. Cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light. Ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel. I took the red pill, I know life's short, so I wanna live real good. How is it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? They wanna say my name, but they holding back. They wanna say they hate, but they know it's cap. I ain't play no games, I just do, that's fact. And I don't feel no shame, it's a mood you lack. I go crazy, nah, but I ain't lazy. Track after track, I work on this shit daily. Pass me the jack, right as fuel, got me hazy. About to unpack all these things I've been chasing. I've got visions in my head, like memories after death. To be a legend instead of something you can forget. I'm living up every breath, I'd rather lead than be led. I'll fill the seats as I spread with every word that I've said.